A couple days ago, we had the Quinshon Judkins news, and now Jawan Jennings is saying, give me money or I'm out. So, will be interesting to see. One, where do the Browns running backs go? Two, where are the San Francisco 49ers wide receivers going in these drafts? We are going to get in the Dalmatian draft. This will be a $100 buy-in. I'm not doing this first, though. I already checked. There are 11 spots open in this draft, so sadly, it means I'm going to have to draft against 11 of y'all, and I'd rather draft against randoms, to be honest. I hate drafting against y'all. So we are going to get in the puppy, too. We're going to get a warm-up draft in, because the last thing I'm doing is hopping into a $100 draft just cold with no practice, no warm-up, no nothing. And again, I kind of want to see where the Niners wide receivers are going after the report that you may or may not have Jawan Jennings as a Niner this year. Now, I will just let you know my opinion on this real quick. I think more likely than not, Jawan Jennings is just going to get his money. Now, y'all know I personally am not the biggest Jawan Jennings fan in the world. I mean, I can go ahead and I can pull up Jawan Jennings for y'all. I think Jawan Jennings maybe got lucky due to the situation last year. And if anything, is not the most talented player in the world. Let me head over to the site real quick. This is flockfantasy.com, yada, yada, yada. You already know this. And looking at this, we can see that in 2023, 1.2 yards per route run. 2022, 1.5. 2021, 1.6. 3 seasons when he got on the field, he did legitimately nothing. Last year, yeah, it looked good, but it really came from 4 weeks. Jawan Jennings has played 4 good weeks of NFL football, and he's like 27 years old, and he's demanding money. So, I'll say this, 49ers. I would be very happy with $7 million. I will put my agent's number down in the comment section. It's really just my number, but I can't guarantee that I'll give you 4 good games of football, but I can guarantee that I'll suit up. I will not make any training camp distractions. I will give 110% effort on every single play, and I will not cry about the money that you are paying me. Now, maybe you're going to say, well, Mason, that doesn't appeal to these guys. I'm going to take McCaffrey over Puka. And my counterpoint would be, I don't know, the Niners every offseason have to deal with wide receivers screaming about money and wanting to get paid. And I'm offering them way worse play, a way worse talent, however, a team player. Okay, that's what I can bring to the table. But thank you, everybody, for coming out and hanging out with us in this live stream. Appreciate y'all in here. This is our last day in the crappy little studio, and then we will get back to the main studio. And by I mean crappy little studio, I mean in my little sister's playroom back at my family's house. So we are in the $1 million studio at the moment. We'll get back to the $1 billion studio rather quickly. But let's see. Puka Nacua makes it down to pick 9 in this draft. You don't see that too often. Derrick Henry goes at 16. When we go McCaffrey there at 7, it's not like we're super excited to take a running back at 18. So it'd be nice to see those guys off. We will get Drake London. Again, more times than not, I just want to be able to grab that wide receiver I feel confident with at pick 18. If I go with the McCaffrey in round 1, a big thing that this opens the door for is we are going to be able to look at Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson at pick 31, whereas we previously wouldn't have been able to. I guess we have one other piece of news that we have to talk about today. Garrett Wilson gets paid a butt ton of money. I mean, Garrett Wilson gets like $90 million guaranteed, something ridiculous. Which, if I was the Jets, yeah, you probably got to pay the dude. Super talented. One of the very few super talented players that you have on your offense. So you have to pay him. You're definitely not going to be paying a quarterback anytime soon. You don't have anybody there of relevance. Now, does that change where I would draft Garrett Wilson in fantasy football? Nope. Not at all. We put out the projection. I mean, we didn't even put out the projections. We just showed the projections. We put out the numbers. And I mean, excuse me, I'll pull this up real quick. But the funniest thing ever is on Underdog, they have the pick'em projections going into the season. And you can see, maybe they don't have him in Florida at the moment. But they have Garrett Wilson like higher, lower, 4.5 receiving touchdowns. Or maybe they took it down after the contract. I would be surprised if they did that. But the projections are on Wilson, super low. Passing volume in this offense, going to be non-existent. In round 3, where he goes, I'm probably not drafting him. I'll probably take Terry, JSN, Lamar Jackson, Breece Hall instead. He makes it to round 4. I will take a lot of Garrett Wilson. In a draft yesterday, he made it to round 4, but it does not seem like it's going to be the most common thing for us. Josh Jacobs goes at 29. So Josh Allen off the board at 27. Garrett Wilson goes. Our plan A was probably going to be Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson here. But I will settle for Trey McBride, who I think probably outscores the wide receivers in this range. But let's move this down. And Lamar Jackson goes immediately after pick 32. Marvin Harrison does go at 33. JSN off the board at 34. And again, I do want to reiterate, we're not in the $100 draft right now. We'll get in the $100 draft later in this stream. But right now, the tournament that we are in is just the puppy. $5 buy-in, $1 million prize pool. 100K to first, 75K to second, 50K to third, 25K to fourth. If you're wondering how you have massive prizes like that, you're drafting against 11 other people. You're going to be going up against them in weeks 1 through 14. 2 highest scoring teams advance to the Fantasy Football Playoff Tournament. Week 15, you'll play against 9 teams. If you beat them, you'll advance to week 16. Play against 9 teams. If you beat them, you'll advance to week 17, which will have a 375-person final. And that's how you get a $5 buy-in, equaling 100K for first. And we did have a member of the flock taking down this tournament a couple years back, which I always brag about. And hopefully we can follow in his footsteps, which I know we said yesterday. So one thing that we have to keep in the back of our mind where we have made mistakes in this range in the past is we need to be thinking about the quarterback optionality that we'll have with our selection here. And I am going to... I'm going to take Xavier Worthy. Y'all can laugh at me. I know Rashee Rice is healthy. I know Rashee Rice isn't going to get suspended. I'm fine with this Worthy price tag in best ball. Again, Underdog, you're not submitting your starting lineup every single week. That's being done for you at the end of every single week with your highest scoring players. I think Xavier Worthy is the perfect guy for that format where every week the projection from a volume perspective may not necessarily be there, but he 100% can blow up with 150 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns off of only 9 targets on a random week 7 game that we weren't expecting. So I think best ball, Worthy, completely fine pick in round 4. I think this opens the door for us to be able to get Patrick Mahomes later on. I know a lot of other people are going to scream that this is a horrible pick and blah, 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 and maybe it is a horrible pick, but hokum horns, I'm excited to make it. Now, Devonta Smith goes at pick 50. I think Smith is my other favorite pick out of all these wide receivers. The issue is when we are picking this early in round 4, like going with Devonta Smith, I'm not going to be able to get Jalen Hurts back at 55. Like Jalen Hurts goes here at 51 to the same team that has Josh Allen. So I think y'all saw me in a live stream yesterday draft Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes on the same squad where we took Allen in round 3 and then we got Patrick Mahomes, I want to say, in round 8. I think that's a little more reasonable if you're going to be wanting to go with the bully quarterbacks rather than a quarterback in round 3 and a quarterback in round 5. Seems very difficult to pull off. Okay. The other instance where I think it's, or I don't want to say it's acceptable, but I'll just be honest with you. The other instance in which I have done the 2 elite quarterback thing on Underdog is taking Jalen Hurts in round 5 and Joe Burrow at pick 72 if I had Jamar Chase. We'll take Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle is by far and away my favorite wide receiver on the board at this point with the trade of Jonnu Smith. So now running back, we have McCaffrey. Wide receiver, we have London, Worthy, Waddle. Tight end, we have McBride. I actually really do like this team. I think it has a shot to win the 100K. Is it likely? No, but I think it's more likely than whatever garbage-ass team you drafted. Obviously, I'm joking. Please, please don't get mad at me. I kind of set that up. I had to go with it. But obviously, if you are not already drafting on Underdog, this is the tournament you want to be in. This is the Puppy 2. It opened like 5 days ago, and there have already been 100,000 teams drafted. Absolutely crazy. I'm sure that you're already drafting teams. If not, again, these are best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during the season. That's how we draft so many freaking teams, and that's how I'm going to crush my opponents in the Flock League this year, just because I will have practiced way more than they have. I will have picked from every single freaking draft slot, and I've tried every single freaking draft strategy from that slot. So I'll be prepared. I'll be ready. I will win the Flock League because of it. And if you wanted to get in some practice drafts, Again, you can find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the description, comment section. I don't know if I put it in the live chat. We're on a laptop right now, excuse me. And if you use code FLOCK, you'll get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, you'll get all our 2025 fantasy football draft guides and cheat sheets to take to your actual drafts this year. I'm going to take Jordan Addison. Addison, in general, is going to be one of my favorite picks here in the middle of round 6. I like Godwin as well. Again, trying to chase the wide receivers that we think are going to be in good offenses in this range. Juwan Jennings should be in a good offense in this range. Obviously, Jennings is going to be a slight faller with the contract dispute. I wasn't a big Jennings guy beforehand, so I'm not going to feel the need to buy the dip if I'm going to be looking at him in comparison to Addison Godwin. Now, if Jennings starts going at the 6-7 turn, for me, I'll probably be a little more excited about him there. But let's move this down. Pacheco goes at 69, so we have had some interesting things happen. Okay, I also see people in the chat saying that we have the $3 drafts available on Underdog. I completely forgot Underdog dropped the $3 tournament as well. So never mind. Maybe we'll get in a $3 draft after this one before the $100 one. And we will show you the other tournament that if you're new to Underdog, you should probably be hopping in the $3 drafts, especially if you're new to Underdog. Like you deposit $10, then they add $5 to your account and you have $15. There, if you're doing the $3 drafts, you can practice in 5 of them as opposed to the $5 drafts. You can only do 3. God, I'm so good at math. Okay, so Juwan Jennings does go off the board at pick 71 in this draft. I think that a lot of these instances of a wide receiver like holding out for a new contract, where he probably deserves to be paid, blah, 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 is not going to raise the alarm bell for too many people. However, in the instance of Juwan Jennings, this may sound dumb, but I kind of have a feel on how fantasy footballers think. Not the YouTube channel. I have no idea how they think. They think at level 100, I'm on level 1. But people who play fantasy football, we'll take Matthew Golden here and just continue to play catch-up a wide receiver. Here's my thought process. Here's my dumb lizard brain guess of what the fantasy football community is going to do. They are going to remember the Brandon Ayuk contract dispute. They are going to get extra cautious about Juwan Jennings because of the Brandon Ayuk situation last year, mainly because they just wear the same jersey and they live in the same city. But my guess would be it's not going to be the end of the world. They'll give him a new deal. He'll be a Niner this year. What's the alternative? You go into the season with Ricky Pearsall in a dream? You literally have to take me up on my offer to be a San Francisco 49er? And you throw me out there running routes for Brock Purdy? It's either that or you pay Juwan Jennings his money. So, again, Juwan Jennings has had like 4 good NFL games in his career. Showed y'all that earlier. So, in my personal opinion, I don't know how much money the man truly is worth. But maybe it makes the other Niners receivers a little more interesting as well, such as Brandon Ayuk and Ricky Pearsall. I would have taken Tony Pollard if he would have made it to us at 90. And so, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Quinshon Judkins. We didn't draft him at all yesterday. The police report came out today, and I read through it, and it sounds like Quinshon Judkins is I don't want to jump to conclusions, but it sounds like he's a pretty bad human being. Sounds like he's not a guy that I would want to hang out with this weekend. I'm not going to play pickleball with Quinshon Judkins tomorrow, I'll tell you that. But with that being said, we've seen the NFL allow pretty bad guys to continue to play with no suspension. Now, would I draft Quinshon Judkins where he was previously going at the 6-7 turn? Hell to the no. I think I would need to get him after Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson. But if it's him versus Jordan Mason, Jalen Warren, this is about the range where I think he's going to be in play. Now, if I'm in the Flock League And I don't necessarily care about the super high ceiling in weeks 15 through 17. Maybe I take a step backwards, maybe I reevaluate. But specifically here, $5 buy-in, $100,000 first place prize. I'll be swinging for the fences, and I don't know if he's a horrible selection in that context. Okay. John says we're drafting the all-con team. Yeah, I guess Jordan Addison, possible suspension. Quinshon Judkins, possible suspension. Xavier Worthy had the incident earlier this year that proved to be not much. McCaffrey seems like a stellar dude. London seems like a stellar dude. McBride seems like a stellar dude. Waddle does as well. Matthew Golden does too. Now, of course, if one of those players did something that I'm forgetting, don't scream at me. Kyler Murray is going to be an auto pick for us. One, Kyler Murray is by far and away the best player on the board. And two, at the same time, we have Trey McBride and we have no quarterback. So getting Kyler here stacks him up with McBride. Not only does it stack him up with McBride, but at the same time, it puts us in a position where we are not going to be squirming. I'm not going to be panicking when it comes to the quarterbacks on our squad. Okay. Omar says, how does Underdog pick your week 1 lineup? We can't pick our own flex, ? So you are not going to be submitting your starting lineup with Underdog. There's no like interface for you to even possibly do it. So how it works is just at the end of week 1, or as week 1 goes on, it's not like Underdog waits and then all of a sudden they flip the switch and then do it for everybody. It's like just live scoring like any other fantasy platform. You'll check in on your lineup and you'll go like, oh, I drafted, let's look at Christian Kirk. And for whatever reason, in week 1, he had 2 receiving touchdowns. And Xavier Worthy, who I drafted as my wide receiver 2, was a bum and did absolutely nothing. You'll see Christian Kirk in your starting lineup on Underdog, and you'll see Xavier Worthy down there on the bench. I think we'll probably go with Cam Scadaboo here as our running back 3. I know we've been adamant. Actually, no, that was a bad pick. I don't want to say why it was a bad pick until the correct pick is off the board. But we have another piece of news that we need to talk about that came out today. But with Scadaboo, I know we're underweight him. I know we've drafted very little of him. But at the same time, what we've said all along about this Giants backfield is I'm just going to take the cheaper running back. Early in the offseason, the cheaper running back was Tyrone Tracy. So I drafted Tracy a lot, and I drafted Scadaboo very little. If you've been watching the channel over the past 3 weeks, you'll notice I've drafted Cam Scadaboo quite a lot, and I've drafted Tyrone Tracy very little. So we're just going to stand by. I'm going to take the cheaper running back between the two, and Scadaboo is that running back at this point. Now, the correct selection for us, I think, at that pick would have actually been Trey Harris. Where y'all know I am underweight Trey Harris. We've been drafting all of the Quentin Johnston, my most drafted player, and we've been fading Trey Harris all offseason. Now, with that being said, Mike Williams is going to the PUP. So, if anything, while Trey Harris has his own contract issues, I think Trey Harris is now more appealing. Obviously, the big Q is more appealing, but it's not like I can draft any more of him than I already have. And oh God, I know you don't want to see that ugly mug. Let's move this over. Herbert, we don't have anybody for. Love, we do have. Y'all know I absolutely love Tyler Warren, and 9 times out of 10, I'm going to take Tyler Warren here, but I think quarterbacks are going to get ugly relatively soon. We have Matthew Golden, so we can grab Jordan Love as our second quarterback. And this does still put us in a range in which we can grab a third if we need to, or if we really like one, but we don't have to, right? So now quarterback, we have Kyler paired up with McBride. We have Jordan Love paired up with Matthew Golden. Running back, we have McCaffrey, Judkins, Cam Scadaboo. We have the elite tight end with McBride. Wide receiver, we have London, Worthy, Waddle, Addison, and Matthew Golden. Overall, I really do like the team. Okay. Let's see. Caesar says, Mason, haven't been on live as much. Not able to, but long time fallen flock. Happy to see you back out, my guy. Hopefully we get you out here more often during the football season. And yes, we saw the Garrett Wilson extension. The Garrett Wilson extension has no impact whatsoever on where I would value him for fantasy football this year. Cedric Tillman off the board at 136. I may just take an unstacked Justin Herbert just for the advancement. I think that's what we're going to do. Here's what a smart person would do. A smart person would go like, oh, I'm not going to take Justin Herbert. I don't have a Charger. But I do have Drake London, so I'm going to draft Michael Penix. That's what a smart person would do. You're not watching a smart person's channel. You decided to log on to mine. So here's what I do. I go, oh, me think Justin Herbert going to score a lot of fantasy points. Me going to draft Justin Herbert. There's my little lizard brain firing. That's my little explanation. That'll be our third quarterback, and we will be done drafting QBs. And if Michael Penix makes it to us at pick 151, I will feel very stupid, and I will admit that I am a Neanderthal. Okay, Ferguson goes off the board at 144. Super Sauce is not the $101 draft. This is a $5 puppy draft. We will be getting in the $100 drafts later in the stream. Okay, Vogel goes Algier. Is Michael Penix really going to make it to us? And just, I'm going to look like the dumbest person to ever walk this planet. This team just took their 8th receiver in the first 13 rounds. Interesting. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm definitely upset. Obviously, it would have been an absolute dream for us to get the big Q. Thought there's a real shot we were going to get him. Instead, we'll take a running back I've been drafting a decent amount of in Trey Benson. One, I think he's a good price. I think he's a decent running back. And two, we have Kyler Murray. We're already making a bet on this Arizona Cardinals offense. So I'd kind of take him here regardless, but especially with Kyler, I'm going to be pulling the trigger. Okay, so let's move this down, and let's hope my laptop has enough battery to keep this show live, because maybe I got to turn this brightness down. I'll barely be able to see this screen, but we'll be able to keep it going. Okay. And again, I want to be very clear and very open and very honest. The decision to take Justin Herbert where we did, hindsight being 2020, horrendous, ungodly bad, and inexcusable. You look at that pick, knowing that Quentin Johnston goes 3 picks ahead of us, and knowing that Michael Penix is about to fall to round 14, where we have Drake London. Us taking Justin Herbert there at 138 was about as bad as it gets. About as bad as it gets. Okay. Yep, Michael Penix available at 162. I can't do it. Do I want Jonnu or do I want Pitts? I'll take Pitts. We have London. We'll play the what if game. What if the Atlanta Falcons passing offense is better than people are projecting? Now, if we're playing that game, probably should have drafted Michael Penix. But, again, I'm sorry. I'm trying my best here. My best isn't good enough always, but hopefully it'll be good enough in one of these tournaments to take it down. Okay. Rico Dowdle goes 167. Adam Thielen 168. So we are done at tight end and we are done at quarterback. So selfishly, what we are hoping to see is we're hoping to see as many quarterbacks and tight ends get drafted over the coming rounds as possible. Okay, we are just running back and receiver. We're going to take so what a smart person would do. A smart person would take one more running back and call it a day. I'm not going to promise you that I'm doing that. We may take 2 more running backs and 2 more receivers. Running back, we have CMC, Judkins, Scattaboo, Trey Benson. Wide receiver, we have London, Worthy, Waddle, Addison, and Matthew Golden. Now, if we do decide to take 2 more running backs, we probably need to make sure we get some wide receivers that give us a baseline floor here. So Wan'Dale Robinson, 175, feels decent knowing the target volume that he got last year. Wandale would definitely be more exciting in a full PPR format than he would be in a half PPR league. But hopefully he'll let us survive to see another day at wide receiver. If we go with another wide receiver here in round 16 that we feel comfortable with, then maybe at that point we can take the 2 running backs in round 17 and 18. Demonic Celery says, my girl in the other room keeps asking why I keep saying Penix. Okay, well, first off, I think it's hilarious that your girl in the other room's calling me, quote unquote, a guy, as if she doesn't know exactly who I am. As if last weekend meant nothing to her. And that's all I got with that joke. I don't have anything else for y'all there. Okay, so we are gearing up. We get, at the very minimum, 1 more wide receiver on this team, 1 more running back. And then that 3rd additional player, you'll have to let me maybe go off the rails a bit. I've drafted like absolutely no Will Shipley. I'm probably going to take no Will Shipley here. We'll take Darius Slayton. We'll pair up Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton. We'll go, what if the Giants are not a bottom 5 offense this year? What if Malik Neighbors doesn't have 40% of this team's targets? And I know they're going to be on the field. I know they're going to draw targets, which is valuable in best ball. Okay. Let's move this over. I know people asking if we've done a $3 draft yet. Full transparency, the only underdog drafts I've done since I've been in Florida have been on the live stream or slow drafts. So, no, I've not done any of the $3 drafts. We can definitely hop into a $3 draft tonight. Hopefully the laptop battery allows it. Okay. Thornton 192. I'm definitely underweight Dante Thornton. And will continue to be as well. Like, here's one thing that I've noticed. Like, I never take Will Shipley. Well, like, every draft that I'm in the final 3 rounds, Will Shipley is always the best player according to ADP. I may take him here if he makes it to us. I very rarely do. But my thing is, like, this dude seems like he just has a straight up fake ADP. That it's like, I don't know if I've ever seen him go ahead of 177. I'm convinced there's a developer at Underdog that's the brother or the cousin of Will Shipley and is going in and slowly but surely raising his ADP up every single day, even though he never goes that high. I'll take him here as my 5th RB. Again, my issue is you'll get 0 usable weeks with a healthy Saquon Barkley, and even if Barkley were to get injured, I don't know if Will Shipley is the guaranteed RB2 there. So, we'll take him. I almost never do. And then I'm going to probably take a running back in round 18, and I'm going to ask that you pretended that I take a wide receiver, and you're not too upset with me or too mad at me for taking a 6th running back with this team. But my wide receiver room, it's not horrible. I'm not going to act like it's great. But, I mean, we're sitting with London, Worthy, Waddle, Addison at wide receiver 4, Matthew Golden, wide receiver 5, then Wan'Dale, Darius Slayton. I don't think it's the worst wide receiver room in the world. And our running back 2s, Judkins, RB3, Scattaboo, 4, Benson, 5, Shipley. Like, I actually am completely fine with Marshawn Lloyd in round 18. We'll go with Marshawn Lloyd there. So, I like the team. I am man enough to admit the Herbert selection, horrible. With hindsight being 2020, knowing that we don't get Quentin Johnston, as well as knowing that we could have just had Michael Penix much later. Like, this Justin Herbert pick, by far and away the worst pick of our draft. But outside of that, I think we had a pretty strong draft, and I am not embarrassed about this whatsoever. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to, one, look at the $3 draft. I'm not saying I'm getting in this right now. So this is the draft that dropped today on Underdog. There have been 7,000 entrants today. Like I said, I'm not getting in this right now. 100K at first, so I want to correct the record. I know I said if you're new to Underdog, you want to hop in the $5 drafts. Nope. This is the $3 draft you want to get in. And for everybody that's been asking about those $3 drafts lately, there they are. What we're going to do now is we're going to get into the $100 Dalmatian. I'm just going to enter this in because I don't want to juke anybody out. I want y'all to know I am in here. There are 6 spots open if anybody wants to get in this draft with us. So here is the setup for the Dalmatian. This is a $101 draft. There are 2,700 entrants total into this contest. A $250,000 prize pool. This is $30,000 to first, $20,000 to second, $15,000 to third, $10,000 to fourth, $9,000 to fifth, $8,000 to sixth, all the way down the line. The advancement structure is, in the regular season, the top 4 scorers in your 12-team draft are going to advance to the fantasy football playoff tournament. There in week 15, you'll go up against 4 other people. If you're the highest scoring team there, you'll advance to week 16, where you'll go up against 7 other people. If you're the highest scoring team there, you'll advance to week 17, where you'll go up against 22 other people. And that's, if you win that, that's how you turn $100 into $30,000. We are at pick 1. We have not had a pick 1 team in a long time. You're going to have to take Chase at 1 if you're drafting a ton of these teams and you want to have, in general, a balanced exposure, just because you're never going to get Chase anywhere other than pick 1 or the occasional pick 2 selection if you get very lucky. And we are off to the races. So we have Draco in this draft with us at 2. He's always drafting with us. Let's see. I think this team at 6 is always drafting with us as well. Obviously, everybody knows Kale. Kale at this point, I will say definitely in the month of July, Kale has been in 10 times the amount of drafts as us as Vinny. Pierce James, a long time member of the flock. This is a throwback. Hopefully he's in this live stream right now and not just randomly hopping in this Underdog lobby with me. But Pierce James has been out here with us since I was in my dorm room closet, recording Dynasty videos every single day for like 100 people to watch. He was one of those 100, which I appreciate you forever, my guy. We have Samwise out here with us at pick 11. I believe Samwise is always in here with us as well. And yeah, Pierce James out in the chat. Happy to see you, my friend. And let me see if we got anybody else. And Samwise in at 11. Saw you. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. And let's see. We got Bitcoin Buzz says, I live in Tampa, Florida, by the way. Not sure where you're at. In the suburbs right now of Tampa, visiting the family. It's pouring rain here. Hopefully we don't lose connection because of that. And ooh, the laptop battery is slowly but surely draining. Okay. Let's see. Who else? Do we have anybody else in this draft with us? I don't see anybody in the chat, at least. Okay. So Achan 13, Genty 14. God, I love Sam Start. St. Brown Genty is just beautiful. It does seem like Nico at pick 9 is almost becoming consensus. Again, we put out the video today saying that I will be drafting both Amon-Ra St. Brown and Nico Collins over Malik Neighbors. I showed the data on why I'm going to be making that decision. Showed all the data. If you think it's valuable, you can follow me on it. If you think it's crap, of course, you do what you want. Okay. Bowers, McBride goes at 20. McBride does have just an extremely wide range where you'll see him go in these drafts. We got Paul Southworth out here at the 6th spot. That's what I recognized your Underdog username, my friend. Definitely recognize the real name 10,000 times more. I know exactly who you are now. Paul's also another one of the members of the flock like Pierce that's been with us forever. Okay. Let's see. Buck Irving off the board, as well as Jonathan Taylor. So we are going to take Rashee Rice. And here's what we're going to do. I'm also going to take T. Higgins. Or do we do this? No, it's not going to work. We'll be boring and we'll take Josh Jacobs here. I was going to take Higgins with the plan of like, oh, okay, we go T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and we give ourselves a real shot at getting Joe Burrow at pick 72. Now, a change that I've noticed in drafts as of late, maybe you haven't, but I definitely have, is that it is less likely now to get a Burrow pick 72 team than it used to be. It used to be like, oh, okay, you take Chase and Higgins on the same squad, you maybe have over a 50% chance to get Joe Burrow on the way back. Where now, that ain't happening. Now you take Chase and Higgins, and somebody random's taking Burrow at freaking pick 66. Now, Drake, but the thing is, you pass on Higgins, then you give yourself a 0% chance to get Burrow, unless you want to take him at 49, because now we'll be in a situation where Draco's set up to get Burrow at pick 71 right ahead of us. But also taking Josh Jacobs there with Chase and Rashee Rice does put you in a very balanced situation. Okay. Raphael says, Mason, I think I like Myers over Addison, Debo, Judy, Olave. I really love 7th round Laporta. I'd be interested to know why you got the explanation. Caesar says, Mason been following since the Beckham jersey in the background. Ain't gonna lie, I missed the old Flock intro. Yeah, I missed the old intro as well, my friend. The issue is with YouTube, they don't like intros anymore. People watching the videos, like, I think people that have been with us for years probably would prefer the intro. But if it's like anybody that new clicks on a video, they kind of just want me to stop rambling and get right into it. So Kittle goes at 38. Obviously, Kittle has just been a massive, massive riser. Kyron Williams off 39. Kyron Williams has kind of been slipping lately. Again, I think Kyron Williams is an auto pick in the 4th round. Jalen Hurts goes 41, so I didn't want to say this, but another reason I passed on Higgins at 25 is just with the hope and the dream that we were going to be able to get Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts at pick 48 and 49. So it is a little bit frustrating to see the team there at 41 opt to take Jalen Hurts, which I'm not going to lie, like, I'm completely fine with you taking Jalen Hurts at the beginning of the 4th round. Where I think it probably makes a little bit more sense is if you took like A.J. Brown. Like, I think the team at 9 taking Jalen Hurts at 40 is probably better than the team at 8 taking Jalen Hurts at 41. And then thank God we went with Josh Jacobs, though, because we look at the turn setup that we have here. Xavier Worthy goes. Devonta Smith is definitely my plan A. I like Sutton here as well. I think that's what we're going to do. Let me just think about it for 1 second. Sutton gives us the Bo Nix optionality. Yeah, we'll do that. We're going to go with Devonta Smith and Courtland Sutton. I personally prefer Sutton over Jameson. I think most people would disagree with us on that, though. And then Devonta Smith is my favorite wide receiver in this entire range. And thank God we did not go with T. Higgins, because then we'd be stuck taking Chuba Hubbard here. So and now wide receiver, we have Chase, Rashee Rice, Devonta Smith, Courtland Sutton, and then we have Josh Jacobs holding down the fort at running back. Let me see. Isaac says how to draft if in Washington. I'm sorry, Washington is one of the few states that Underdog is not in. I'll have like straight up just regular mock drafts posted on flockfantasy.com for y'all soon. The issue with those, they're not going to be paid, so we're going to have to try to find a way to like keep like trolls out of there effectively, like banning accounts if they're making too many troll picks. Trying to think if there's anything else that you can do. Yeah, so the states that Underdog is not in are Louisiana, Washington. Can somebody... I wish I would show you the map right now, but we're on the laptop and it's on the computer back home. Can somebody else let me know in the chat what other states... No, it's not in Nevada. Nevada, Washington, Louisiana. Ontario, Canada, it's not in. It's in everywhere else in Canada. Connecticut. Maybe that's one of those tiny states that I didn't know what it was on the map. And I don't see any other states. There are other states too. There's like maybe like a Montana or something like that. One of those states up there. Yeah, Montana. Caden, let us know. Okay. Yeah, there are like 5 to 8 states Underdog's not in. And since Underdog's like fully regulated and like legit, it's not like a offshore crypto BS thing. It's like a VPN's not going to work. If they recognize you're using a VPN, you're not going to get in drafts. Okay, Jordan Addison off the board at 63. Like that's why like sometimes you'll see like I try to enter in an Underdog draft on my laptop, and for whatever reason Safari will block my location of website sometimes. Like if I don't like go into the settings and hit like allow location blah blah blah, and Underdog won't let me get in the draft. And then usually what I do is I just go on my phone because my phone always has my location and enter there. But I live in Texas and I'm in Florida right now, so it's not a problem for me. So clearly, it's not a surprise to anybody that we would be very happy to take Joe Burrow at pick 72 with... Oh my gosh, my girlfriend just texted me asking, would the chicken I made the other night for you still be good from the fridge? She made this chicken 10 days ago. For the love of God, I hope she did not eat this. If she ate it, I may be single soon. Tell your girlfriends. All right, Draco does indeed end up getting Joe Burrow here to pair up with T. Higgins. So we will have to figure out what we are doing outside of that. I think we probably go Caleb and Swift. Laporta could be in play, but... Oh, come on, computer. Okay, God, did I lose y'all? Is my computer dead? I'm not going to have to do this on the phone. Okay, come on, baby. Come on. We just autoed Myers, and we did not want him. We will take Caleb. We wanted Caleb and Swift. Maybe we kind of got saved here, knowing that if we would have gone Caleb and Swift, we'd have been dealing with 3 running backs on the week 5 bye. And with that type of running back investment, we could have only drafted a total of 5 of them. So maybe we were just saved from ourselves. I was not intending to take Jacoby Myers there. I was intending to go running back. But now the squad is Josh Jacobs, Caleb Johnson, Jamar Chase, Rashee Rice, Devonta Smith, Cortland Sutton, Jacoby Myers. Interesting note is like quarterback options, we are not going to have a ton. Like Devonta Smith, his quarterback's already off the board. Jamar Chase, his quarterback's already off the board. Jacoby Myers, like I'm not that excited to draft Geno. So we'll see. But TM42 says, how did you get your start from being a fantasy football content creator? So I had like a very interesting and unique path that most people... Like, I wouldn't say this would be plan A, right? Like, everybody's going to find their own path. Everybody's going to do their own thing. But I previously started on OnlyFans. And it was like a really organic growth thing, right? Only tasteful stuff. And started posting there quite frequently. And I gained a pretty large following. And one of the photos that I had posted one day, I had like a fantasy football draft board up in the background. And somebody noticed it and was like, oh, you play fantasy football? I didn't know that about you. We'd love for you to talk about some fantasy football. So then I decided, oh, okay, well, that's an okay idea. And then I started posting fantasy football stuff on YouTube. And all the people that were previously supporting me on OF, it trickled over to YouTube. And so like 99% of the people that you see in the live chat with you right now are most likely single moms from our previous OF account. And they'll just support me doing whatever. And of course, y'all know I appreciate the hell out of y'all for that. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend that being the path for everyone. But, you just got to find your way in the world. You just got to get it when you can. All right. Jalen Warren off the board at 93. Judkins also goes at 91 in this draft. We get a blessing, a true, true blessing. Mahomes making it to us at pick 96 for us to pair up with Rashee Rice is exactly what we needed. We talked about us not having too many quarterback options with this team. Y'all know I've made my stance on Mahomes very clear. I still believe, maybe foolishly, that Patrick Mahomes could be a top 3 quarterback in fantasy football. I still think that's a possibility here, ladies. You go back and look at a 5-year sample of this dude averaging 300 passing yards per game. 5 seasons. Yes, over the past 2 years, like we can just straight up pull this up right now, right? Player comparison. Like, let's do something fun. Maybe you aren't going to love this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let's pull up Patty Mahomes. And let's pull up Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. And I understand, yes, we can look at over the past 2 years for Patrick Mahomes, and we can say, hey, over the past 2 years, 17.6 fantasy points per game, QB 12, maybe not the best. We can look at a 5-year sample from before then in comparison to Josh Allen over the past 3 years and Lamar Jackson over the past 3 years. And we can see that is in the range of outcomes for Patrick Mahomes to outscore these guys. Again, look at this. 2.4 passing touchdowns per game for Mahomes, 1.8 for Allen, 1.8 for Lamar. Now, of course, am I saying that's going to be like the expectation for Mahomes? No, over the past 2 years with worse weapons, the passing volume's fallen dramatically. He hasn't looked downfield nearly as much. He hasn't been as accurate downfield. His receivers haven't been as open downfield. But now you presumably have fully healthy Rice, you have Worthy in year 2, and you have a healthy Hollywood Brown. And I think you can see Mahomes maybe be halfway between where he was in that historic stretch and at the same time over the past 2 years. And at that cost, pick 96, I'm very happy to take him. Okay. Let's move this down. Tucker Kraft off the board at 114. Swing this over. We got 3 more picks here. Goff would have been in play for us if we would have taken either Jameson or Laporta, but probably not going to be able to take Goff here. Trey Harris goes 117. Again, I think it's, y'all know I'm underweight Trey Harris. Like, selfishly, it would be good for me to say, like, oh, the sky's falling. Nobody can draft Trey Harris. If you take him, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. And then I just scoop him up at a massive discount to balance out my exposure. But realistically, if I wasn't just going to try to throw y'all off my scent, Trey Harris is a completely fine by the dip moment. When's the last time a rookie contract dispute actually mattered? And you combine the fact that Mike Williams just got placed on the PUP. If you were underweight Trey Harris like I am, and now that he's cheaper than he was and he goes a lot closer to Quentin Johnston, I think now's the time where you can start drafting the dude. We're going to take Zach Charbonnet and Ramondre Stevenson. So I think I've talked about this before, but I really like the idea of pairing up one of these day 2 rookie running backs like Caleb Johnson with a veteran at a discount that is in the backfield of another one of those day 2 backs. So I really like pairing up Caleb Johnson with Ramondre Stevenson. I really like pairing up Trevion Henderson with Jalen Warren because you can see it working out one of 2 ways. One, like median outcome is like, oh, okay, Caleb Johnson crushes for us in the second half of the season, but he doesn't really score points at the beginning of the year. So we need Rhamondre to cover us for the beginning of the season, but Rhamondre doesn't do much near the end of the year, right? Like maybe that's the median projection. But then also you have the upside case of like, oh, we take Caleb Johnson and he crushes in the second half of the season. We also take Rhamondre Stevenson and something happens with Trevion Henderson where maybe Henderson's not as good as I think he is. Trust me, I think he's very good, but also rookies wide ranges of outcomes. Or maybe Trevion Henderson gets hurt. So like kind of the base case is you're just getting a veteran to cover production for you at the beginning of the year. But the best case is something happens to the rookie running back in that veteran's backfield. They go down, they don't break out, they disappoint. And then your veteran running back actually gives you production through the entire season, and you have the rookie breakout late in the year at the same time. So if I have Caleb Johnson, I like the Rhamondre Stevenson pick. If I have Trevion Henderson, I like a Najee Harris selection. If I have Trevion Henderson, I like a Jalen Warren selection. Kind of like, or if I have Amari Hampton, I like a Rhamondre Stevenson pick. You know, I like mixing those in. Okay. Zay Clip says, bro, he had Tyreek. I know a lot of people will say, like, oh, Patrick Mahomes had Tyreek during that time period where he averaged 300 passing yards per game. You know, the first season, what Mahomes did after Tyreek Hill left? You want to check this out? Okay, Tyreek Hill left in 2022. What did Patrick Mahomes do? Let's zoom in on this. Oh, 24.6 points per game, 308 passing yards per game, and what? Just looking at 417 total points, 5,200 passing yards, 41 passing touchdowns, and the dude won me like $100,000 plus in tournaments that year. That was the year without Tyreek. Okay. My point isn't that Patrick Mahomes is guaranteed to do that again. Far from it. My point is it's still in the range of outcomes and it's still a possibility. Like, would I say that Tua can go out there and have 5,000? Do I think Tua can have over 400 fantasy points this year? No. Do I think Bryce Young, Stafford, Cam Ward, do I think any quarterback here can have over 400 fantasy points? No. Do I think Mahomes can? Yes. I'm not a big likely guy. Y'all know I have a lot of Benson. I think we'll go Benson. And then we're done at running back after this. Tua, we have no Dolphins. I don't feel like the need to reach on an unstacked quarterback here. I mean, we're okay with Mahomes and Bo Nix. Tillman, Leggett. We definitely have more Leggett than Tillman. Do we want to continue to make that call? I don't really want to go likely. We'll balance it out with Tillman. Y'all know I have a lot of Leggett, but I don't really have a strong reason here one way or another. Not the biggest likely guy with where he goes. I'm fine taking him with where he goes if I have Lamar. If I don't have Lamar, I typically want him to fall a bit. But let's move this down. So now we have Mahomes paired up with Rice. We have Bo Nix paired up with Sutton. Running back, we have Jacobs, Caleb Johnson, Charbonnet, Rhamondre Stevenson, Trey Benson. Wide receiver, we have Chase, Rashee Rice, Devonta Smith, Cortland Sutton, Jacoby Myers, and Cedric Tillman. So I like the team. I think we got lucky to have the Patrick Mahomes fall where we did, but I like it overall. Okay. Michael says, what is your typical advance rate with all the drafts that you do? So you can go back and you can look at, we post every year, the tweets. I'm not going to be able to pull them up because we're on the laptop here, but short answer is in almost every tournament that you can look at over a large sample, we've had above average advance rates pretty much every single season. You go back to like last year as an example. We advanced upper 30s BBM drafts. I advanced 41 sprint drafts. I don't think that there was a single person that advanced more sprint drafts than us. You go back to 2022, I'd be surprised if there were definitely nobody on YouTube advanced more BBM drafts than us. Also, it helped that we just made Josh Jacobs our most drafted player, Mahomes our second most drafted player, and Kenneth Walker our third most drafted player. We hit on every league winner. Got very lucky. But, yeah, advance rates we crush. The issue has been when we've been getting to week 17, Like the highest I've finished in Best Ball Mania so far is 16th place. And 16th place is cool and all, but it's not winning you millions. See, Jaden Blue goes 157. Y'all know I'm underweight Jaden Blue, but I think this is a completely fair price for him. And I'm not going to fault anybody ever for taking Jaden Blue there. Okay. Strains goes 158. Joshua Palmer 159. Okay, let's move this around. I don't think we're going to take another running back here. I mean, maybe if we have like a crazy faller, we can. But we have Jacobs, Caleb, Charbonnet, Ramadre, Trey Benson. I feel like Ramadre, RB4, Trey Benson, RB5. We're kind of good with 5 running backs. Like, it's not like we don't have any top-end talent as well. Like, Jacobs is a strong running back 1 for us to build around. We'll see. Quarterbacks in this range are non-existent. Like, Rodgers is the best quarterback we could go with if we wanted a QB3. So it's going to be a 2 quarterback build. Maybe we go like around 18 Anthony Richardson if we want to get really weird. Jonnu Smith goes 166. Let's see what Draco does. He goes Gesicki. I'm going to take Pat Bryant, pair him up with Bo Nix. While we're on 16, 17, 18. So we're going to have to take 3 more tight ends regardless. I think we can take Wandale as our wide receiver 8. And then call it a day at receiver and then just take 3 tight ends at the end of this draft. And here's what I'm at. Actually, I have my phone just in case my laptop dies. But the laptop ain't holding on strong here, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm actually, yeah, I don't know if y'all can see it whenever I hit the drop down on the battery, but we're at like 5% on the laptop. I cannot have it die with the live stream running. I have no idea what happened there. So I'm probably going to call it. I have to wake up at 3 in the morning tomorrow to drive to the airport and then catch the earliest possible flight back to Austin. So I'm going to take 3 tight ends. If you wanted to know who those 3 tight ends are, make sure you go subscribe to our OF. We'll post them there. And, of course, appreciate you hanging out with me. I will be streaming tomorrow, the next day. I'm streaming every single day. You can see we go visit the fam. I bring a little rinky-dink setup. And we're going to be making sure that we're getting in best ball drafts. Now, what I would recommend, again, is if you're new to Underdog, do not be hopping in a $100 draft. And maybe if you do a bunch and you feel confident, then you can go. But do not do that. If you are trying to practice for your main redraft league, if you are new, these are the ones you want to be in. The $3 mini schnauzer and the $5 puppy 2. Now, they have a massive, massive tournament in Best Ball Mania with $15 million prize pool, $25 entry. So yes,